Everybody, it's Jenny, and today I'm using the February Stamp and Die of the Month called Spread Your Wings from Not Too Shabby to create a shabby chic card. Here's a closer look at all the images and the coordinating dies, and you can find a link to the Stamp of the Month for February in the description box below. For my card today, I started by stamping out each of the butterfly images onto some clear vellum with some Versamark ink, and then heat embossed them with some white detail embossing powder. Next, I'm going to bring in a paper pad that fits the vibe that I'm going for my card, and I'm going to flip through it and pick out a few pieces of pattern paper. I was really drawn to this butterfly image on this cut apart sheet, and I thought I could do something with it, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that out. Next, I was going to start trimming down my pattern papers, but instead I grabbed a straight edge so that I could tear the paper and get that distressed edge. And I'm going to size this first piece down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to use a pair of scissors to add some distressing to the other two sides. I'm going to do the same thing for the next piece of pattern paper, and I'm going to size that down to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Next, I'm going to start playing around with all my pieces and bring in some additional elements like this frame. Throughout this process, you'll see that I definitely play around with this frame a lot, and I go back and forth on whether or not I want to use it. But for now, I thought it would be cute to back the frame with this butterfly image. So I'm just going to go ahead and use an X-Acto knife to trim that out. Next, I want to add a lot more dimension and elements that you'd find in a shabby chic card. So I thought a good addition would be a doily. So I die cut one out of some white cardstock, and then I'm just going to trim that in half. Next, I'm going to bring in some paper flowers and some leaves that I die cut from some coordinating green cardstock. And I just go ahead and play around with the placement of those for way too long. I also used my stash to create a butterfly wax seal to add another pop of blue. As I was playing around with all of the elements, I thought it was getting a little too crowded, so I decided to create one more layer of pattern paper, and I sized that to 6 inches by 4 3/4. Here you see me playing around with the frame again. It just wasn't working at the time, and I thought maybe switching out the pattern papers behind it would make it flow a little better. I also played around with some jute twine that I thought would look cute wrapped around the bottom, but it was just a little too harsh with what I was going for, so I ended up bringing in some gold thread instead. Next, I decided to just set that aside and work on a sentiment, and so I brought in the stamp set again and chose the Sending Hugs sentiment, and I'm just going to stamp that onto some pattern papers with some different brown distress oxides and pick the one that works best. I initially stamped it out onto this green strip of cardstock, but I ended up going with the blue cardstock that matches my second layer. Next, I cleared off all my layers and started fresh one more time with all my pieces to see if I could get it to flow a little better. And here's where I decide against the jute twine and eventually go back to the layout that I had in the beginning. here I decide I think I finally have the layout how I like it, and I go ahead and go to glue everything down, and surprise, I changed it again. When everything was coming together, I just thought, let me go ahead and try and see how this frame looks again, and I really like how it turned out. So I added that back in and then added a bunch of flat back pearls. This is my first time creating a card like this, and I really love how it turned out, but you gotta let me know, is anybody else's process is back and forth and all over the place as mine? Either way, I had a really fun time creating this card, and I hope you enjoyed watching. So thank you so much, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!